Jersey Mike's. Be a sub above.
Welcome to the Southern California Prep Insider Baseball Podcast. Tommy, Les here as we are in mid-league form right now. Les, exciting baseball going on. We got our top 10s, our players of the week, our game picks. How you feeling?
Dude, feeling great, man. We're coming down to the end here, the nitty-gritty here of the season. Some big-time matchups over the next couple of weeks, and then, of course, the postseason, which is, in my opinion, the best time of the year.
Yeah, the playoff structure will start to settle itself as we come into these final weeks here. So let's start with the top 10 into the Southern section.
All right, we got a new top dog in the Southern section. It's Harvard Westlake. Wolverines clinched the Mission League. They got 6 games left in the league, 3 against the 4th-place team and 3 against the 7th-place team. They're also the number 1 team in the state in our PBR rankings. They're playing some absolutely fantastic ball, 9-0 in league, and they should be, if they continue, the number 1 overall seed in the postseason. Number 2, Orange Lutheran, 7-2 record in the Trinity League, coming off a sweep of Servite. They face a somewhat resurgent Modern A team that won a series last week against J. Sarah. Olu, we have them number 2 in the PBR state rankings. Checking in number 3, Maricosta, the Mustangs, keep rolling, 23-2. Huge showdown next week against Redondo. That should decide their league battle. Here comes continuing the pattern. We got them number 3 in the PBR state rankings. Number 4, La Mirada. They won a big 2-game set against Glenn last week and at 21-3-1 are looking like a top 4 seed in the D1 playoffs this year. This will be the first year in that division. They've got the pitching depth, as we've talked all year, to make a deep postseason run. And what do you know? We've got them number 4 in the state currently. Number 5 is Huntington Beach. The Oilers got ran off their own field last week by Fountain Valley to end their 21-game win streak. But like all good teams, Tommy, they bounced back 2 days later and they won a big one. They're better than most teams. Their pitching depth it may be being exposed a little bit, but you know what? The bats still continue to bang out some big hits for them. Checking in at number 5, number 6, Arcadia. They're a school record 21-0. I saw them on Saturday, man. The Apaches are for real. They're the type of team that just drives opponents nuts with the run game, their athleticism, their defense. They just do all the little things that just drive opponents crazy. They're the top dogs in D3 right now, and they beat a really good San Dimas team on Saturday in walk-off fashion.
And I want to add something there, too. That record in baseball is even more impressive than any other sport because baseball, we see some fluky things. Weird stuff happens. To be able to be that consistent over this long period of time is pretty incredible on a carry point.
Yeah, no, and I agree. We hear a lot about, they don't play anybody. And my response is, look, dude, I don't care who you play, dude. If you beat every team that's on your schedule, dude, you're doing something right. So, rightfully so. They deserve a top 10 ranking, in my opinion. That's why we have them where we have them at number 6. Checking at number 7, El Toro. They sit atop the standings in the brutal South Coast League. 3 games left 2 games now against Aliso Miguel this week, who won game 1 yesterday, 4-3. El Toro, despite that loss, they're still looking like the team we thought they were in the postseason. And, they're just one of those teams that's built for the postseason, in my opinion. They've got really good quality pitching at the top, and the lineup is just stacked. So look for them to make some noise. Beckman, the top team in D2, checks in at number 9. They're cruising in the Pacific Coast League and appear prime for a postseason run. They got a big series this week against Northwood. They'll face Julian Tristan of Northwood today, who's a MLB draft prospect who I saw last week. Touches 91, 92, really athletic player. Beckman, of course, has Matt McClain, who in his own right is a very high draft prospect as well.
And the rest of his family as well, basically.
Yeah, and the rest of his family, right? So this should be a pretty good series for Beckman this week. And the newcomer this week in the top 10 is Temecula Valley. Golden Bears check in at 21-3. They're a team nobody's really talking about. They're in the driver's seat in the Southwestern League, which by all means is a really good league. A little bit down this year, but next year should be really good given the young talent in the league. They're likely a high seed in the playoffs as well. They dealt with some vandalism early in the season at their school. Their golf cart got vandalized. They, broken windows. The clubhouse was messed up. The snack bar messed up. They seem to really have rallied around that and come together as a team. And they're playing their best baseball right now. And at 21-3, they're hoping to continue this and make this a special season.
And then we got one more.
And lastly, number 10, Etiwanda. The Eagles are starting to show a little chink in their armor as they're 4-3 in their last 7, as you and I discussed before starting the podcast here. But when you consider the quality of opponents they've had all season, or they've faced all season, they're deserving to be here. They've got games against Upland. They beat them yesterday 3-2, and Damien left on their schedule. They should figure things out here before they head into the playoffs. They're just a really good team, and when they got a guy like Marcus Johnson on the mound headed to Duke, that gives them a chance to win every outing he's on the bump.
Yeah, we talked about them before we started recording. I mean, they're the team. If the bats show up, they'll win the game. It's pretty much as simple as that. So, but again, baseball is baseball. You never really know. Going from the top 10 onto some players from last week that stood out to us. I'm going to start with Darius Perry from La Mirada, who homered in 4 games in a row. He now has 10 on the season. That's incredible for a high school career, let alone in 1 year. So good job there for Darius. Trevor Jones, Rancho Christian, last week got on base a perfect 9 out of 9 times, also hitting a home run with 4 RBIs. Next, I've got Jackson Kramer from St. Anthony's. He was 7 for 11 last week with a grand slam and 8 RBIs. Next, Frankie Lux from La Sierra had a complete game shutout against last week. 4 starts in a row without giving up a run, and that's his 3rd complete game in a row. And in those 3 complete games, he has had less than 3 runs of support in all 3 games. So pitching under pressure the whole entire time. And finally, Jazz Williams from Citrus Valley, back-to-back 12 strikeout performances from him. He'll play at Cal Baptist next year.
Wow, back-to-back 12 Ks. That's pretty darn impressive. Darius Perry, I saw him the second game of their series against Glenn last week, and you could see why Major League Baseball scouts are really, really high on him, and certainly why he's getting all the love from college coaches as well. My 4 guys, let's start with Nico Della Ripa from Agoura High School, junior 3rd baseman outfielder, basically won 2 games for Agoura via home run. He had a go-ahead home run in both team wins against Thousand Oaks last week. On the week was 4 for 5, those 2 homers, scored 4 runs, 4 RBIs, a walk and a stolen base. So the junior getting it done for the Chargers. Headed into Orange County, Kyle Luckham, the senior Cal State Fullerton commit and potential MLB draft prospect, was 5 for 12 at the plate, had a double and 2 RBI. Oh, and just for good measure, threw a complete game win against a very good Foothill team with 6 strikeouts, allowing 1 earned run. Head out to Maranatha. Junior Max Blessinger, Dallas Baptist commit, was 11 for 17 with 9 runs scored and 8 stolen bases. That's a career for some guys right in the league. And then heading back into Orange County, we talked about Huntington Beach getting ran off the field, due in large part to this guy, Sebastian Murillo from Fountain Valley High School, sophomore Arizona commit, was 5 for 7. He had 2 bombs in that one game against Huntington Beach, 6 RBIs, 6 runs scored, and 3 walks. That's a season for a lot of guys, and the sophomore getting it done in 1 week against a really good team in Huntington Beach.
And keyword there I want to throw out there, you just said sophomore.
Yeah. He's a guy obviously already committed to Arizona that's already on some draft, already on some notes there, obviously, for some MLB scouts already know who he is.
Hey, there's some incredible players down here in the southern section. As you mentioned it when you were going through the top 10, they're almost all the same as the top in California, almost all just the southern section top 10. So
yeah, and it's really nuts, man. We're really spoiled with the quality of baseball we've got in this area, and just I think the size of the southern section, right? You go from LA, down to South Orange County, out to Palm Desert, out into the valley. It's a pretty big area, right? I think the biggest in California. So we're pretty lucky, man. We get to cover a pretty big area and see a lot of really good players and a lot of different levels, right? Some of these guys are playing at D3, D4, D5, D6 here in southern section. Where you put them in some other areas in the state, and they're probably the top dogs in some of those areas.
That's right. Hey, it's about 580 strong schools, so it's a lot to cover. Going on, speaking of those schools, we have some game picks we got to do. We're going to start with Quartz Hill and Palmdale. They're going to have a 2-game series. Yeah,
Quartz Hill, man, this is a really, really good team this year. They come in 10-0, the Golden League standings. They're steamrolling opponents. They're winning games by double digits pretty handily. They've got 10 guys hitting 350 or better, and 5 of them are hitting better than 400. Junior Giovanni Delgado is hitting a ridiculous 460, Tommy. It's insane. The pitching has been outstanding, too, led by junior Ryan Sanders, who's 7-0 with a 1.88 ERA. Palmdale looks to play the role of spoilers this week. Offensively, they're led by Caden Clark, a sophomore who's hitting .423, which is pretty solid. Despite the record, the Falcons' offense is getting it done. I mean, they've got 6 guys hitting over .325 on the season. Pitching, though, has been another story. Unless they can get some stellar performances from their starter, they're going to be in trouble. In the end, I'm going to go with Quartz, who's aiming for an undefeated league season before they head into playoffs.
I'm going to agree with you, Quartz as well. Another kid I want to mention, San Diego State can make Dawson Diamond hitting .405, 3 home runs, 27 RBIs, and 27 is a daunting number for what is a shorter season in high school. Next, we've got Corona and King. Again, it's 2 games.
Yeah, man, big-time matchup in the Big 8 as both teams come in at 7-4. King won the first game 4-3 in a nail-biter and will host the first one of this week. Both teams are playing some good ball right now in what is, in my opinion, the best league in the Inland Empire. There's so much talent in both of these rosters that we could sit here for an hour, breaking it down. But let's start with Corona. Sophomores Isaiah Green, Michael Flores, Daniel Cruz are all hitting over .329 with Green, who's an Oregon commit, hitting .394. Mixon Jr. Kiki Wanders .395, and senior Utah commit Jaden Kiernan's .440. And you see how potent this lineup is. Wanders just happens to be sporting a 1.7 ERA, too. Dane Baker's a Bulldog on the mound for them, for the Panthers. Brings in a 2.41 ERA, and fellow senior Hunter Collins is a stout 1.77 ERA. For King, they bring 5 regulars that are batting over .300, led by Eddie Rivero's .367. Junior Brian West is having a really nice season, hitting .341, while seniors Gavin Shiflett and Brady Chesterton are each hitting .305 and .307, respectively. On the mound, junior Brandon Ramey, a Cal State Bakersfield commit, leads the way 6-1, 2.51 ERA. He's already on notice with some MLB scouts for next year. The Wolves are an aggressive team led by CIF winning coach Steve Madrill, so I'd expect them to put pressure on Corona all week. In the end, though, I just think the Panthers have too much offensive firepower to prevail, and it should be warm this week. The ball flies out of both of those parks out in Corona. We're dealing with a little bit of wind right now, so I'm going to go with Corona in this one.
I'm going to go Corona as well. I want to mention Michael Flores' pitching stats as well. The sophomore, a .31 ERA with 50 strikeouts. You mentioned his offensive stats. I like to call kids like that Maniac McGee. I don't know if you've read the book, but the Maniac McGee stats where you can just pretty much do everything and be good at it. Trevor Cadd, one kid I want to mention from Corona, 5 home runs already. He's committed to Fullerton. The batting average is not where he probably expects it to be, but that's okay. He's still putting up the power numbers, so expect to see him do some things at the plate. But again, I agree with you. Corona is going to take this one. Westlake, Agoura, 2 games.
Yeah, Agoura comes in tied to second place. I just got an email from their coach yesterday. We nominated Nico there for the player of the week. They come in second place at 6-5. They kind of control their own destiny here. In the second place in the Marmont League, while Westlake is 2 games behind at 4-7. So this is a big matchup. Both teams have been a little inconsistent this season. Neither team has strung together more than a 4-game winning streak, and that happened for Agoura as the calendar flipped from March to April. So it's been a while. Agoura's been playing some quality baseball, though, the last 3 weeks. I'd like to continue that against Westlake here, especially with playoff seeding on the line. They're getting some good contributions from players like Aaron Subal, Nico De La Ripa, who we mentioned, and others, while pitchers Ben Lake and Ben Matheson have been really solid of late. And because of that, I'm going to take the Chargers in these 2.
I'm going to go Westlake in this one. I'm going to go Westlake for these 2. Final one, we got Glenn, Cerritos. It's 2 games.
No reason. You're just going Westlake just to go get.
We were agreeing too much. That was the only reason.
Yeah, and when we put the scoreboard out of whack, right? We know how much everybody cares about the scoreboard.
Exactly. So it was too many in a row. I just had to switch it. Sorry.
All right, I'm good with that.
Glenn, Cerritos, 2 games.
So Glenn versus Cerritos. I saw Glenn last week. They went head-to-head with La Mirada. They're a really dangerous team, man. They currently hold a 2-game lead over Cerritos in the Suburban League, so they can't afford to let down after an emotional couple of games last week. There's talent on Glenn's side. Players like Joseph Angulo, who is a Cal Poly slow commit, Damone Hale, Joseph Figueroa, and Jose Lamas, who's batting .500, should all play beyond high school on some level. Senior Humberto Chiquito is a bona fide ace on this team. Sports a 1.67 ERA. I was told by both coaches last week that he matched Jared Jones pitch for pitch, made one mistake, cost Glenn the game. Cerritos, the Dons have been inconsistent the last couple of weeks as they're 4-4 in their last 8 games after a pretty good start. The key here for the Dons is going to be, can they pitch well enough to keep Glenn from blowing things open? And after seeing Glenn last week, I'm going to say that's going to be too tall of a task. So I'm going to take Glenn, the Eagles, to win both games this week.
Yeah, and again, unfortunately, we agree. I'm going to take Glenn as well. Angulo and Chiquita, both ERAs under 2. They'll both probably start. So that's just a tough assignment for Cerritos. You're going to get those two guys back-to-back. But, yeah, again, if Glenn can put up 3 or 4 runs, I see them winning both these games just because those guys are so dominant.
That might be.
Les, anything else you want to have before we get out of here?
Yeah, check us out, prepbaseballreport.com/California. We just released our 2020 rankings last week. We will be releasing our 2021 rankings probably in the next week. Got all sorts of content coming out this week as usual. Check us out on Twitter at PBR_California, on Instagram at PBRCalifornia. You can hit me up on Twitter at Lukach if you want to scream at me about something. Otherwise, looking forward to doing this again next week.
Yeah, and I will say this about your 2020 rankings. I think we mentioned like 10 sophomores during this podcast, so there's a lot of good ones.
And I think 9 of those guys are all in the rankings. So it gives you an idea of where the talent is coming from here in the state. We are pretty lucky though. We've got eyes everywhere. We've got a team of scouts all throughout the state. So Northern California is actually very well represented in 2020, and they will be very well represented in 2021 rankings as well.
All right, that is it for this week. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the baseball.
Thanks, Tommy.